because only bitches do Patreon. All right, so check it out, guys. Right now I'm partnering with NordPass this entire month. So anytime you use that link in the description or my code OriginalDobo, helps the channel out. Plus, you will receive 1 month free, 50% off your NordPass subscription. Links down below. Check it out.
What's going on, everybody? Hopefully the audio is good. I realized that I had everything routed over to the system side of the audio, so I'm not even 100% sure if you can hear me right now. But if you can hear me, drop it a thumbs up if you can hear and everything is coming in good. Unfortunately, like I said, I made some changes to XSplit last night, and I think that screwed things up. But welcome to the I shouldn't say it's the first episode, but this is this I guess is the first episode, right? Because this is the first name I've chosen for this, which is Drones Brew or Brews. I don't even know. Drones Brews News. I don't know, some shit like that. Anyways, hopefully you have your drink of choice in hand. And tonight I am supporting Three Daughters Brewing. This is Three Daughters Brewery out of St. Petersburg, Florida. They're a local brewery in St. Pete. So if you're local to the area, don't come here now. But when this is all said and done, be sure to stop by, show those ladies some love because they make some awesome beer, some of my favorite beer. The over and under of how sober I am, I'm only 2 in on the night, and we have a spare one here. We'll talk more about that later. All right, so let's just jump into the chat, see what's going on. Let's see. I see let's start from the very top. We've got Bob Casey. Hello. B-Man. What's going on? We've got Tim Martin. Steven 516. What's up? Brad Hendo. How's it going? Eddie Nunez. Holding it down regularly. We've got Marty, Machine Gun Droner, Michael, Nick and Cindy Davis. What's going on, Nick? Addie Overbeek. I want to say Bleak for some reason. It's just common for me to do that. Let's see. Sabino, Alex, Wildland Donkey says, I wonder if he hit the wrong hole again. Let's keep scrolling. Clark, Mark, all I hear is the beat of watermelon, watermelon, watermelon. Chris Hilton, what's going on? Hearing his voice makes me wet. Someone get a mop bucket. Yeah, Wild and Donkey, go fuck yourself. That earns you a removal, bitch. It's my stream. All right. So let's see. We got Weekend Droners. Kenneth, I did get your footage. If you submitted it through the link on the website, I got it. Friday Night Flights is happening this week again. I'm extending the window of time that I actually record those episodes. So I will be filming those episodes on Friday. So that way I can give everybody a chance to submit footage. Right now, I think we've got 6 or 7 pilots slated for that episode right now. So if it goes up, great. If not, no big deal. We'll still run the episode with whatever amount of pilots that we get. So I'm thinking that that's how we're going to run things. And I was initially going to do those only twice a month, but I think just because of everything that's going on, I think it's just best to just do it every week. That way, if you have footage, maybe you have some backlogged footage that you've never shown anybody, you want to send that in, great. If not, no big deal. But I think that's the way to go about that. Also, we will be putting out a new episode of Drone Buzz over on Half Chrome's channel. That episode will go out, I think, Sunday. I think that's the day that we've been releasing those episodes. It's been sporadic just because of everything that's been going on. I've been really, really slammed at work. So it's been nuts. I know content doesn't say that, but yeah, it's been crazy. So we're going to talk about some news, specifically surrounding the Autel Evo. I got something in my eye here. I don't know what the hell's going on, but we'll talk about the Autel Evo a little bit because I've gotten a lot of DMs and questions on when it's supposedly shipping, what's going on. And I've been privy to some information of which I can talk about, and some I can't because it's part of like dealers' NDAs. Um, there's some things happening at Autel. Again, can't really specifically go into too much detail right now. When I get the green light, hopefully tomorrow, maybe I could talk more about that and I'll put out a separate video. But the Evo 2, as of right now, is still delayed. And obviously, it's just really bad timing. It's nothing wrong with the product at this point. And you know what, to be honest with you, I don't know if it ever really was something wrong with the product, to be completely real. I think it's always been this virus. And now the fact that it's made its way to the United States and it's put a big restraint on shipping, especially international deliveries. There has been a couple of people that have gotten their hands on this unit that are not creators, that have gotten it from overseas from a unspecified, I didn't want to call them distributor because that's not what they are. But anyways, I digress. Let's see. Let me. Yeah, similar. Exactly. Ad. Yeah, same mistake as Kelly. So the 6K. People keep asking me about the 6K specifically. The 6K, we're not going to see the 6K until like June at this point. Maybe May, maybe late May. Unfortunately, Autel's got sort of like a curse, I guess, when it comes to releasing new drones. Autel just is plagued with bad luck. The Autel Evo, the initial first Autel Evo had some issues with the obstacle avoidance, so they delayed it and it wasn't ready. It didn't meet their requirements or standards, so they delayed that drone, and that's why we didn't see it till June. This time around, now we have this virus that's obviously very serious, and we have to, obviously taking care of this and making sure things don't spread is more important than getting a drone into people's hands. I mean, I said it before, what the fuck are you going to do with that drone when you get it in your hands? Be patient. That's all I can say, is just be patient. It's not going to change the way you fly. It's not going to change the way you create. It's not the camera. It's not the drone that creates the content. It's you. So if you already have a drone, chill out. If you don't have a drone, well, then I can understand why you are sort of chomping at the bit to get that in your hands, because you don't have a drone. But it's going to come, but it's going to be probably like late June, I would say, for 1K, the 1-inch sensor, which is the 6K. And at this point, I would say end of April on the 8Ks. If I'm just speaking from what information I have right now, end of April, middle of April. If all this clears up and they say, okay, we're accepting imports again, then maybe sooner than late April. But right now, my best guesstimate from the information that I have, it's going to be mid-April, unless if whatever happens on the call tomorrow changes. We don't know. So there we go. Yeah, people are flying the drone internationally, but the people that are flying the drone internationally don't have to go through all the stringent requirements that our customs puts on the drone. Secondly, the Autel Evo 2 was never touted as an international drone. There is not a global release scheduled to that. So the people who they are getting that drone from shouldn't even be providing anyone with that unit. There was never a global release scheduled for the Evo 2. So bear that in mind. There is not a global release. It's a North American release only. So who they are getting that drone from shouldn't be even providing it to these people to begin with. So that's a whole nother story. I didn't even want to get into that. I've sat through several phone calls with people just in regards to that. So people are getting all up in arms because people around the country, I mean, chill out. Chill the fuck out. Yeah, so Crazy Pat, and he already wrecked the drone. So what does that tell you? He already wrecked it. So that's about it. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, the US government is delaying shipments from China. I don't even think they're actually allowing cargo ships to be unloaded right now. And I know they're not allowing cargo planes to be flown in from China right now. So there's a lot to do with that right there specifically. And the fact that it was just discovered that this particular bacteria stays, viable or active on surfaces for longer than 17 days. I mean, they're not going to let anything move until they feel it's safe. So that's do I think the Evo 2 Pro is a good start-in drone? I mean, from what I've gotten a chance to experience with the Evo, it's a good drone if you have common sense and obviously, you know how to fly a drone. It can be a great drone. It can be an absolutely fantastic drone. What happened with Patrick's drone, I mean, that was unfortunate, but sort of was on him, to be honest with you. But that's, what the hell? I have no idea what that was. That was weird. Just had a weird tweet sent to me. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you're going to crash your DJI drones, you at least have care refresh. So Patrick is not getting it from Autel here in the United States. He's probably getting it from Autel Pilots, which is not even affiliated with Autel. So that, again, that sort of surrounds around a lot of the issues that we've heard from other dealers that have specifically been talking about Autel Pilots. They're a distributor overseas, and they are not actually on Autel's authorized list. So, but that's, like I said, a whole nother story. Yeah, I mean, that's rule number one. I mean, with any drone, like when I'm flying in the city, typically I will let my drone sit for a bit so it can make sure I have all my GPS, like all my satellites. I want to at least see, like with the Evo, I need at least 7 or 8 satellites for me to be comfortable with taking off and knowing that I have a good lock. With my DJI drones, I'm pretty comfortable at about 5 or 6. I know that I'm pretty well locked, especially with OcuSync flying in the city. I have no problems whatsoever, especially with the Mavic 2 Pro. Mavic Mini, on the other hand, I can have all of my satellites and have a lot of problems flying in the city. Like I tried to fly just the other day in Tampa, and it was pretty bad. And that's pretty congested airspace, I would say, for wireless activity. But I mean, it did okay for wireless, but still, I like to wait until I have a good lock before I take off. But yeah, I mean, that's what happens when a lot of these people, that's what happens when a lot of these people, they buy these drones from like unauthorized distributors. They're going to play hell trying to get things warranted, and especially more so because the drone isn't slated for a international release. So if you buy one and you're in another country, you sort of have to deal with whoever you bought it from there. So hopefully that company does take care of them. So on that contact form, Addy, there's an area where you can actually submit the footage. Let me see if I can go to it. Let me see. I haven't been on the site in a while. Let's see. So all the way at the bottom, if you go, so there's a contact form, but if you go all the way to the bottom, you can see right here. I don't know if you guys can see the screen. Let me switch modes here. So if you go all the way to the bottom here, here's the submission link. So up at the top, you'll see here's the contact form. Like, so if you want to contact me, it's up here. But if you want to submit footage, what you'll do is you'll hit submit. And then it's going to ask you for some information like your email address, your name, the drone, the location, your social handle. So what do I mean by social handle? If you have a YouTube channel, if you want to just paste the link to your YouTube channel, you can do that. And then I'll include that in the description of the video. So if people are interested in seeing what your channel is all about, they can go ahead and click on that. And then right here, there's an area where you can actually add the file. So you can upload up to, I think you can upload up to 2 gigs, but if you're only taking 45 seconds, it shouldn't be anything more than that. So yeah, it shouldn't be anything more than that. Hopefully that helps for anybody who's like trying to figure out how to submit your footage to Friday Night Flights. That's where it is. Joe Myers says, have you ever had magnetic interference cause a toilet bowl crash? I can't say I've never had magnetic interference do that. Usually I've seen it happening and been able to retrieve it. But again, when I fly, like even in Philadelphia, I let the drone hover there for a minute just to sort of make sure that nothing wonky is going on. Then I proceed. As long as I do that, I've never had an issue. I've only had 2 instances where the drone became unstable. Once with the Phantom 4 Pro, which was easy to resolve by flipping it into ADI mode and then flipping it back into position. That fixed the problem. Same thing with my Mavics. Anytime I've ever had that issue, I flip it into sport mode, flip it back into positioning, and I don't have that problem. But an inexperienced pilot is not going to do that. They're going to make a mistake and jump the gun and probably end up with a result like that. I don't know if he's ever owned a drone before, but if that was his first drone, I probably wouldn't have flew in a city. I probably would have flown somewhere out in the open to sort of gain my understanding of how these fly. That's just what I've seen, watching it. Yeah, I mean, it's just all about how you deal with those errors. If you know how to deal with it, it's fine. Like when we flew in big groups in the city, it's one of those things you just got to know how to, save your drone in those instances. Did I miss to cover the leaks in the new Mavic? Ozzy, I haven't talked about anything to do with the new leaks as of right now. Haven't gotten that far yet. You just joined at the right time. So that's a shame about the Evo 2 Pro. Would have probably held off, but who knew? Yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of people really knew. I mean, it's not like they're never going to ship. So if you have a pre-order in wherever you've pre-ordered, eventually they will still ship. So eventually you're still going to get your drone. It's just going to be a little bit more delayed than what was initially anticipated. So it's not really a big deal. It's just, it is what it is. There's not a lot of the situation that many people can control right now. It sort of sucks. Invest in a laptop. I mean, having a good laptop that could edit footage is a good idea. I would probably say if you are savvy enough, build yourself a computer. You'll save yourself some money because building a computer, you're going to get more bang for your buck, and it's probably going to be able to be more future proof. Plus, it's modular. So that's just my thoughts on that. When's the next flight time? I don't know when the next flight time is. Him and I have sort of had very different schedules. I know he's still trying to finish up school, doing that e-learning, and I've just been really busy with work. So we're just on different wavelengths right now. But eventually we'll start and sit down and film other episodes. We go like this for a while. Like we'll do episodes and then we just go MIA for a while and then we'll film episodes. There's really not a lot of news or anything noteworthy to talk about right now. So obviously the internet is plagued with the virus and everything right now. So that's all the news that's happening. Let's see what's going on. Any more on remote ID? No, there's nothing more on remote ID right now because most agencies are not functional right now, obviously, with this virus. So sort of the silver lining of the virus is it's going to put a bigger delay in the FAA being able to decide or mandate anything. So that's one good thing. But we'll see how that actually goes. Well, that's good he has it. Then he should have known not to do that, I guess, near all those buildings. I don't think there's an issue in low light per se, because like I said, in the testing that I've done with it, I mean, the obstacle avoidance is actually pretty aggressive. When I was getting a chance to play around with the Evo Dual this week, we were using some smoke bombs to try to see if it can see through the smoke to see like a human subject. and it was actually detecting the smoke as an obstacle. So the obstacle avoidance is actually really aggressive. A lot of it is going to depend on what version of that Evo 2 he got, because there was a firmware issue with obstacle avoidance on the Evo 2. So if he got a drone that did not have the proper firmware loaded on it, then that could have been a lot of the issue that he was suffering. So and oh, he's crashed his power egg in the ocean. This guy sounds like he just crashes shit left and right, worse than I do. So X Dynamics Evolve 2, Addy, is also delayed. They are talking about, I received an email from them. They are talking about June as well. So Addy asked, what about the Evolve 2? And their factories, their development team is in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong was pretty much locked down for the vast majority of February and late January and most of March. So I think they're just now getting back to work, but they still have a lot of manufacturing to do. So we're probably not going to see that till late June, if I had to guess, which, again, everything's delayed. Let's see what we got going on here. So I'm guessing there's no 107 testing either. Probably not. I don't really see testing for 107 as like an essential business, I wouldn't say. So probably they don't have those testing facilities open. Like most of them are at airports, but even still, I don't think personnel is there, and they probably won't let you test while this is going on. Probably going to be a little bit. I would say after April 15th, that's when you'll probably start seeing people reopen things. John asks, how much to build a decent home computer? You can get away with building something that can edit 4K footage for under $800. So if you want to build something that can handle 4K footage, 4K 60, you can build a computer with a Ryzen CPU, a decent GPU, like an RTX 2060 for just under $800. And that still gives you 16 gigs of RAM, the whole bang, for under $800. I would say like $750, you'd be in the door. Let's see. I have no idea about the Evos 2's precision landing. I actually want to make a shirt that says fuck precision landing because I never use it. I literally never use precision landing. So it's like literally the last thing I ever test when I get a drone. If you ever see me land, it's typically, I always hand grab it. I never hit return to home, and I never just land it. Like it's always in my hand. So I never use precision landing. It's just, I rather just always land my drone before it comes to that point. Now, in a case of emergency, I'm sure it's got precision landing because the Evo 1 did a really good job of landing exactly where it took off. So, 720. I mean, Brad, that's a good deal on it. However, I would say I'm not sure if it's going to ship because I've had a couple of orders from Amazon recently that have canceled. And they gave me credit, which was weird. They gave me a digital credit, but they canceled my order. And it's primarily because, again, this virus, they're prioritizing medical equipment first. So if you can get it, that's a great deal, but hopefully they don't cancel it. How much for a computer that can handle 8K editing? Well, a $750 computer can handle 8K, providing that you edit in a proxy. But if you want to edit 8K efficiently, you're probably looking upwards to about $1,500 to get a GPU that can handle that. So, is it possible to put an early warning out when I'm going to stream? So my stream, I put out on the community tab that the stream started at 9 p.m. today. So if you look at the community tab, there's actually a stream warning there. So easiest way to know that I'm streaming is if you click on the stream beforehand, like you'll see it that it's scheduled days in advance. Like usually I schedule these out 2 days in advance. You'll see there's a set reminder icon. If you click that set reminder, it'll give you a notification when the stream goes live. You can either join in or disregard it, but that's the easiest way to make sure that you don't miss it. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we can test it when it comes. It's just I'll be honest with you, like I know a lot of people will sit there and do every test under the sun with a drone. I am the exact opposite when I get a new drone. So look at all of my reviews that I do on drones. I don't sit there and do all these like little nitpicky tests. You got guys that review drones and they sit there and test these things till the cows come home. For what? The freaking manufacturer tested these things before they sold it to us. My job is to fly it and produce awesome content with it and get great imagery. I don't care about tests. I mean, if it works great, that's all that matters. I look at it from like a nutshell, like 1,000-foot view when I test a product. Is it doing what I asked it to do? Is it getting great images? Is it performing well enough that I trust it? If it's doing all those things, that's what I look for when I review a drone. I'm not going to sit here and do like a noise comparison. Noise comparison tests always trip me out. I've been guilty of them before. When I first started my channel, I did a bunch of noise comparison tests. But what does it even freaking matter? Like if my drone is loud or is it not loud? I don't care. If it's like a couple of millimeters off when it lands, what am I going to do? Like who cares? It came back. That's the main thing, is if it comes back, right? People take that as me being an asshole when I do these videos, but it's just me not giving a shit and just I want to fly the drone and I'm not going to endlessly test it. There's no fun in tests. There's no fun in tests. The best part about having a drone is flying it and getting it back and creating that awesome content. And I think that point is missed across the board. Like it's so silly when I watch some of these channels. That's why I drink so much. All right, let's jump back in here. January, best drones of 2020. February, best drones of 2020. Oh my God, typical YouTube reviews. And you know what's funny is this year it's going to be best drones of 2019 and 2020 because we're probably not going to see too many new drones. Everything keeps getting pushed back. You know, last year we really didn't see too many new drones either. So this year everybody really wanted to see something new or groundbreaking. And a lot of people thought we were going to see that in Skydio. And I hate to say it, and I know there's probably a lot of people that love Skydio. I was really disappointed with it after the initial honeymoon phase wore off and that overall initial excitement wore off. I was really disappointed with the Skydio. And I know they're really super proud of that drone because of how smart it is. But I still see stories daily like people crashed it, or just now, like in one of the groups I saw, my buddy Sean, he just crashed his into a lake again. He said he was flying over, he was trying to return it home over water and it dive bombed into the water. Sort of like what happened to Billy. It just dive bombed into the water. So those are all things that they need to figure out, because that's, you know, that's dangerous to have that stuff like that happen. Let's see what we got here. All right, the Mavic Air, Ozzy, is a different story because the Mavic Air was exceptionally loud. But again, it only matters, noise to me only matters in close proximity. Like when I'm flying around houses doing real estate shots, yeah, noise matters a little bit. But I will tell you, that lady that yelled at me that one day, that was the first time that has ever happened. Any other time, I've never had a neighbor go all disgruntled on me. So noise really isn't ever a big thing to me. And besides, I like to hear my drone. I like to hear it because the quieter it is, it's sort of like, where is it? You're looking up at the sky and you're like, where the hell is it? So for me to be able to hear it is important. So that way I have sort of audible awareness of where it's at along with visual. It just makes it, no, not Sean Oz, another Sean Cook. So Sean Cook is the one that actually lost his. Aha. Chris, I dig that, man. Exactly. You're the pilot in command. You should be landing that. We don't have, you know, I guess we have autopilot on planes, but again, the pilot's always in control. Let's see. Do I have any plans on visiting Philadelphia this summer? I do, actually, because we were supposed to go. So Billy and I were supposed to go to NAB, which was a show in Vegas. It was supposed to happen next month in April. That got canceled because of the virus. Now, if I would have known that would have happened, I would have spent the money and went out to Sean Oz's house and hung out with Kelly and I would have hung out with Ed Ricker versus putting all my eggs in one basket. If I would have known all this was going to happen, I would have just went out there and went snowboarding and stuff. So that was, I made a mistake, but who knew all this was going to happen? Like nobody and their mother knew that this was going to happen. But I plan on going to Philly. It just all depends on what happens with all this stuff. I need to turn on the AC because this office, when I start streaming, this office gets super, super hot, like miserably hot. Oh, it's telling me I'm not logged in. Fantastic. Let's see. Yeah, you got to be able to hear the drone. I'm just trying to just get caught up on some of these comments here. Yeah, Ed and me have done a couple of videos together, but this would have been cool just to, snowboard, just hang out, like not have to worry about anything. Like a lot of time when we're at events, we're stuck with, whatever's going on in the event. So the Mavic 2 Pro is the best all-around drone. Matter of fact, I finally got mine back right here. So I'm pretty happy with getting this back. So I got it back. It's brand new. I put another set of master air screw props because I damaged that first set I got. And if you buy the black ones were $22. I didn't know that. The blue and the other colors were more expensive than black, but if you just got black, $22. That was a good deal. So I actually took the serial number down off the old drone, and this one is a totally different serial number. So it was brand new when I got it. So pretty happy about that because that other drone I had, like I said, I crashed it at spin up. I had some damage to it. Not a big deal. Crashed it this last time, had a little bit of damage to it. Still flew, but I just wanted to be sure that it was ready to go. This thing is an absolute workhorse. Absolutely love it. No, John, the Skydio camera isn't bad. It's not that it's bad. What's bad about the Skydio 2 is the application. It's clunky, okay? It's not convenient to be able to adjust settings on the fly. The DNG files that it uses are very muddy. So from a professional standpoint, it's very muddy. The drone is very robotic. The drone is very, very robotic. I've tried to get super, super cinematic footage out of that drone, and it's just very, very robotic. So, I mean, you just can't do certain things that you can do with it like you could in the Skydio 2. Like I think about that video I did over the weekend with the Mavic Mini. I can fly the Mavic Mini in really super tight spaces. And, granted, there's no obstacle avoidance. I can get into those spaces. But with the Skydio 2, you can't put it in those spaces. The obstacle avoidance will never allow you to do that. So that's just my thing on that. When am I going to hydro dip the Mavic 2? I'm going to go with never. We're never going to hydro dip it again. Although a buddy of mine does hydro dip professionally. And he has offered that if I ever want to hydro dip something again, he said that he will hydro dip it for me so I don't ever embarrass the hydro dip world. I said, I will take you up on that offer. I will take you up on that offer. All right, let me jump back in here. Let's see. Do I do meetups when I'm visiting Philly? We did one. It didn't go very well, but we're open to do meetups. We'll definitely try if it warrants enough of people. We will definitely do a meetup when I'm in Philadelphia. Like I love to fly the city when I'm there, so obviously more people the better. Are there any drones that shot in RAW? Are you talking about RAW video or RAW files for photos? Because most drones shoot RAW photo, but RAW video is a totally different animal. Let's see. Yeah, the Skydio 2 is definitely too much babysitting. It's just, and the controller system just makes it more cumbersome. It's fun if you want it to be your cameraman. Like, all right, for instance, if I wanted to ride my skateboard and I wanted it to follow me, it's good at doing that. You got to know its limitations. You can't expect it to be Superman because it's not. So far, I can honestly say that I'm the only one that has not crashed a Skydio out of most of the online creators, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I immediately, probably the first time I flew it, I started seeing some oddities that scared me. So I knew that there was going to be limitations with this. And one of the limitations is you can't fly it at certain times of day because there has to be adequate light. If there's not, you're asking for problems. So as long as you know that, you'll be fine. When do I think that DJI will come out with a Mavic Air 2? We don't know if it's going to be a Mavic Air 2. I mean, I think the problem is a lot of us assume that DJI has to produce a sequel to any of their drones. All right, because let's think about it. The Mavic came out and they produced the Mavic 2. The Mavic, or the Phantom 4, is obviously a drone that has a long lineage of sequels or predecessors. So we can't assume that they are going to create a drone just to fill that gap. They could just say, all right, well, this is going to be the Mavic, and then they can just have like a sub label for anything else. We don't know what they're going to do. If I had to guess, we probably won't see anything from their camp until summertime. I think that they're going to play it safe and see what happens. Their largest customer base is here in the US. DJI's largest customer base is here in the US. They're going to wait till all this blows over before they release a new drone. The last thing a company wants to do is put out a product in the midst of an economic crisis. That would just be bad because obviously a lot of people have better things to do than buy a drone. On the flip side of that coin is that they would also be geniuses to put it out at this point, because all of a sudden the government has decided to put out an economic stimulus package, the virus stimulus package, in which they're going to give most people $1,200. So if they were smart, they would release it then in hopes that some poor fool would do something irresponsible with that money. That's, again, that's just my take on that. I mean, now for most people, they're going to probably use that money to get by, pay rent, whatever. If you have a nest egg and you're fine and your job makes you essential and you're still working, then, it could just be like a holiday bonus that your company doesn't give you. And then you can buy that drone. Totally up to you. Yeah, go ahead, Bob. Go for it, man. I'll allow it. So a Nafi is so quiet, N399 if you bid on one. That's a pretty good deal if you can get an Anafi. I still got a Anafi, and I've wrecked that a couple of times, and that's been fine. The only thing I don't like about the Anafi is the props are pretty. I'd say the props are pretty weak, right? Like if you accidentally graze something with the props, you're probably gonna need to replace them. But other than that, it's not a big deal. They're pretty cheap. DJI's commercial market safety government has boomed over the past 2 weeks. Police surveillance. Yeah, I mean, this is an easy way for the police to maintain, a safe distance from people while also keeping an eye on what's happening on the streets. What is going on, Mr. Chris Hope? So yeah, I think drones are a great way that the government can see that, wait a second, we don't need to actually put people in jeopardy and have them on the streets. We can let the drones do the work for us, which I think is genius. I think after all this is said and done, a lot of companies are going to have a different perception of how business should be conducted. Because right now, what you're going to see is a lot of people that are working remotely. You're going to see who's responsible in your company. You're going to see that companies may build more trust in their employees, providing that production still keeps afloat. They may see the need that we no longer need large buildings to house companies. Hey, work from home. It worked out great. We got more production out of you working from home. I've worked from home now for 8 years. 8 years I've worked from home. And my philosophy was I always had to work harder than my colleagues that worked in the office, because I was always afraid that somebody couldn't see the work that I was putting in and would deem me not important. So I always made sure to try to outperform the people that work from the office. So that way they knew that I was always putting in the hard work. So it's one of those things. I think we're going to see a huge change after this. Peter, I did not hear about the anamorphic lens for the Osmo Pocket, but that does sound interesting. That would make the Pocket actually pretty fun to use. I have an anamorphic lens for my DSLR camera, but it's a really, really long, it's a 50 millimeter lens, and it's sort of cumbersome to use. I wish they had like a 24 or 18 millimeter anamorphic. 50 millimeters is just too big. How can you get the best photos? Shooting RAW. I like to shoot RAW, and what I'll do is I will actually, so I'll shoot RAW for starters, and then I will actually just choose the best of my exposures. So I just try to choose, like, I'll shoot 3 brackets and then look at the bracket and try to choose whichever one looks the best to you, and then just do some minor tweaking here and there. Tracy Cartwright says, Ken, what did you say the Evo Dual was going for? $998 for the 640 version. So the version with the higher resolution sensor, it is $9,998. Basically, call it $10,000. Everybody who buys that one, it's automatically bundled with a rugged bundle. You get 3 batteries, car charger, the actual charger, and a happy ending for $10,000. And it's signed by Robert Kraft. Yeah, I saw the anamorphic for the Mavic 2 Pro. My fear with the Mavic Pro anamorphic lens was the weight of it. It seemed like a lot of people were having some issues with the gimbal in high winds, or just moving, the gimbal would drop. I was a little bit hesitant to do that. I didn't see enough of a need to go to anamorphic on that. I still may, just to try it out, but I'm sort of skeptical with it. So virtual real estate tours are on the rise. It's actually really easy to host those and do those now. I have a camera. I have a 360 camera from a company called Lab Pano that's pretty amazing to do virtual tours with. I haven't done too much with it. Most of my work is, it's sort of split, Addy. I do most of my work from home, but I also do a lot of real estate on the side. So when I get off of one job, I go right to the next. So let's say I get done working at 4 o'clock. I'm shooting houses from 4 until the sun goes down. So, and then I get back here, and then I do YouTube. So it's from one job to the next. I should be waking up earlier to do that. Exactly, Lon. Exactly. That is all too true. All too true. Yeah, it's just best to be safe than sorry. A lot of my clients actually canceled this past week. So I had 4 shoots lined up. Out of 4 shoots, I've got 0 this week. So right now, no real estate. And I was having a really good month too. I had a lot of work this month. It was lining up to be my best month ever. And it literally just fell flat on its face midway through. So sort of sucks. I am not an agent. Nope, I don't sell houses. I should, though. I should get my real estate license. That would be awesome, to shoot the houses and then sell it, market it. I could do that. I should, but I don't know. I'm sort of skeptical to become an agent. A lot of work, and I already have more things to deal with. Yeah, we haven't had any sinkholes in a while. Like, there hasn't been any sinkhole stories in a long time. In Spring Hill, that's where there's a lot of sinkholes. Yeah, machine gun. I said proxies. So proxies mean that you can create a file parallel at a lower resolution. So there's videos on how to create proxies. If there's enough interest, I will make a video on how to edit proxies. But basically what a proxy does is it takes the original file and creates a lower resolution image alongside it. So when you edit, you're not actually editing the full resolution file, you're editing the lower resolution sample. But when you export it, you actually export the real file. Sort of hard to explain, but just know that it helps make editing a lot easier when you're dealing with high resolution. Yeah, I mean, I try anyways. I just recently redid my website, so I was trying to, like, I've taken this time to redo like everything. Um, Let me see if I can pull it up here. There it is. So I redid the website. So this is the website. I just put it together, and these are all the images I've taken so far. I mean, it's really super simple, but I think it's effective because it's sort of elegant. And then if you want to go to book now, it goes through the different options that we have available for them. And then if they want to play some videos that we've done, here's some videos that we've done recently. They're all hyperlinked there for them. If they want to go and look at some of the work I've done, they can go and look at the work. And then I have an area where they can actually email, contact, call me, whatever it is. So there's that. So really super simple and effective for somebody that's trying to get a hold of me. So yeah, I mean, now's the time. Like, one of the things that I've taken this time to do is look at my website, see where I can make it better, look at my SEO, and then understand the competition around me. So what I've done is researched all the photographers that shoot real estate in my area, see what they offer, try to figure out what their pricing is. So now I can get a little bit more competitive. So when all this blows over, I have an ace up my sleeve. So, Addie, that's actually my website. So that's my website for my company. I'll paste it in here if you want to check it out. So that's my website for Apex. So it's time to crack open another one. We're sticking with Three Daughters. This is called Rodbender. This is a red ale, so it's a little darker. A little ASMR. What do you call that? Delicioso. lot more sober this weekend. I'm going to tell you, last Wednesday night, I was probably like 5 or 6 ahead of this stream. I probably shouldn't have streamed. Like, that was really, I went back and watched that, and I was just like, oh my God. It's always bad when you start doing karaoke. I mean, it's really bad. Not really sure why. The count is 2 beers that you've seen. The count is 2 beers that you've seen. I think maybe I've had 3 or 4. I found myself, you have a few more here and there with obviously everything that's going on. So yeah, last night, we're not going to relive last night. There's not enough of anything to have a repeat of all that. We're social distancing, having a few drinks, chatting with friends. That's what this is all about. So try to keep this stream a little bit more PG, I guess. Yeah, we definitely had too much. Like I said, I went back, watched that stream back, and I was just like, oh, full send. We're just going to leave this where it is. Also, too, I just wanted to throw this out here. YouTube is For the rest of this month, if you click on a video, you're going to notice that your videos are going to play in 480p. So by default, videos are no longer playing in HD. So if you're watching this stream and you're like, oh, the resolution's pretty bad, I am streaming this in 1080p. You will need to click on the toggle up at the top and make sure you switch it over to 1080p. It's for some reason by default to try to limit bandwidth that I guess they're trying to preserve bandwidth because everybody's home or online, that they're defaulting to 480p, which is sort of weird. Coronavirus. Hope its future is liquid. Yeah. Well, we can only hope, man. Do I use Squarespace for my website? I do use Squarespace for my website. I found it to be the easiest, most professional platform. Not sponsored by them at all, but I utilize them because they have a lot of plugins that you can try to boost your SEO. So if you go to their marketplace, you can really, really optimize your website with just a few clicks of the button. So if you don't know a lot about website development, Squarespace is a good choice because it is so darn easy to use. Thanks, Addy. I really appreciate that, man. Is it worth buying a 4K monitor to edit 4K videos? I think that if you're going to buy a monitor, I think a 2K monitor is fine. Now, this is a 4K monitor. This is actually, I'll pull this back. So this monitor here is a 34-inch LG monitor. It's 4K. But what I find to be more important than having a 4K monitor is to have a monitor that is color accurate. I rather have a monitor that is color accurate because then you can ensure that the image that you see here is the same as the image you're going to see on your tablet, your phone, wherever. What happens is sometimes people have monitors that have really bad color accuracy, and then they can't tell if their image is too contrasty or if their image is too overly saturated. So it's more important over pixels that you have a image that is, color accurate. That's what I would say. So that's what I would do. So Brad says he's struggling to decide on a template. I would say, just play around with them. They all look weird. Like my template that I chose for my website looks drastically different now because I sat there and customized every single little aspect of the website to make it what it looks like right now. So, I look at it this way. For a photography website, you want something simple, clean, to the point, so a realtor can click here, here, and here and find exactly what they're looking for. And the biggest thing is when somebody clicks on your website, they want to know what your business is about. Mine screams real estate photography. So somebody looking for a wedding photographer may say, whoa, wait a second. This guy is not a wedding photographer. He does real estate. So they're going to go find somebody else. But somebody who's looking for a real estate or architecture photography may say, okay, this is our guy. So I probably need to fix that. I may make a secondary website just so I can support weddings and things like that. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. So there is a utility that you can buy. It's on Amazon. And again, I wouldn't buy anything on Amazon right now because I can't guarantee that it's actually going to ship to you. But it's called the X-Rite utility. And what you'll do is you'll put it on your screen and you're going to have a calibration app that actually plugs into your computer, and it'll help you calibrate your monitor to be as color accurate as possible. Sometimes when you get these monitors from the factory or wherever they're shipped from, there may be an odd hue. And I notice sometimes people will edit with two different monitors. You'll see people have split screen monitors. I've thought about putting a secondary monitor here, do like a vertical monitor or something. Because sometimes when I'm editing photos, I do that. I like to have something vertical, but you'll have it where there's a difference in the temperatures or there's a difference in the colors. So that X-Rite utility helps you gain the color accuracy. So that's always something I would recommend doing. How did I create my logo? It's you're gonna laugh. You're gonna really laugh. So how I created my logo on the App Store, and I take no credit for finding this, there is an application called Logo Maker Shop. So I'm going to try to pull this in here so you can see it. Let's see. So it's a manual focus line. So this right here, it's called Logo Maker Shop. It's on the App Store. Download this app and you can see, you can just scroll through and you can make icons. Like here's all the icons that I have made, trying to make it. So there's the Friday Night Flights one. There's my fly logo. So you can see I've made all these logos with this application. I mean, it's really super simple. You can do it right on your phone, which is pretty cool. So that's, I mean, something simple. You got to pay for it. It's like $12.99 a month. But for somebody who's just getting started, my recommendation is to stay away from things like Fiverr, because here's the problem I have with Fiverr. You're never going to get the design that you have in your head to a designer unless you're actually physically working with somebody that you go and see. And you're going to pay a lot of money for it. So try to design it yourself first, because you'll get what you want. That's what I recommend. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, I tried professional companies. I tried professional logo companies, Brad, and they just they never sent me what I wanted, right? They never, like, I told the professional logo company I wanted to look like this, and what they sent me was like totally obscure from what I wanted. So what I found was just design your own, play around with some of the templates that are already there, and chances are you may luck out and get a look that you like. So that's it. Yeah, don't use the free ones. They're going to add to your watermark. That's why I pay. Um, anything I do, I pay because at the end of the year, if you have an LLC, you're going to be able to write your expenses off. So it's just worth it to pay anyways. I would never use anything for free. Yeah, I made the mistake of my business took on so many different forms of logos. Like, um, I don't even know if I have it in my Apex folder at this point, but I thought I did. I may not, but in my Apex folder, I have like so many different styles of different logos that I created, and each rendition became cleaner and cleaner until I landed on what I have right now. So what I have, I'm going to stick with because I think it looks good, and I'll just leave it alone. Yeah, I mean, if you are really specific with like people at Fiverr, I mean, it can be productive. But if you have a general vague idea, your chances are you're not going to be able to convey. I mean, it's hard to say. So Skyline Media says, I uploaded a video to YouTube and it wouldn't go full screen. First time that it's ever happened. Still not sure how I screwed that up. Could it be the H.264 format that I use? A lot of times if it won't go full screen, has something to do with probably your resolution or your export settings. If you're utilizing Windows, what I would recommend doing is right-clicking on the properties of that file and see what the resolution size is. If the resolution size is off, that would be the reason why. Yeah, Curtis, we were talking logos a little bit. They were asking me who designed the logo, and I was just showing them the app that I used to design the logo. I was trying to urge them not to utilize Fiverr unless if they absolutely had an idea in mind. Yep, exactly. The logo finds you. That is so darn true. So Brad, part of the reason too I switched my name, my business name, I switched to Apex Imaging Media. I took aerial out of the name because what I didn't want to do was I didn't want to pigeonhole myself into just doing aerial. I wanted to have the option to just do whatever I wanted to do. And what I found was by doing just aerial, like people, I don't know, people overlooked me because it was I just did aerial. I hope that makes sense. Which one do I choose most? It depends on the house. It depends on the house, actually. I mean, sometimes I choose HLG. Sometimes I choose S-Log. I just did a house recently that I utilized. I utilized S-Log. I actually shot S-Log this whole house, which I don't know if it was a good idea. I never shoot S-Log interior, like for interiors, but I did, and I sort of regretted it instantly because this house had very, very bright, punchy colors, and it just made the whole thing a big pain in the ass. Exactly. You don't want to just like, I can do aerial inspections and things like that, but I think that's where you have to have multiple faucets of a business going. When I'm doing photography, I want to be a one-stop shop because there's a lot of business, and having a drone is great, but I'm telling you, realtors don't care. Like, if you want to work with agents, they don't care if you have a drone. They want to know that they can call you and you alone. You're going to go in that house. You're going to do everything that they need, and they're going to just have to pay one singular bill. That's the only way you're going to make money. You got to be a one-stop solution. Otherwise people won't use you. And if you don't know enough about photography, the biggest thing I could suggest to anybody is to, before you even know how to edit photos, is to learn how to compose the photo, to understand your composition of the shot. Because a great photo is only great because you composed it properly. You got the right angles. You made sure that your verticals were level. It doesn't matter what the color or anything looks like, because you can get away with mediocre photos. I have friends that don't really edit their photos right now. Like, they just do the bare minimum, and they get a lot of clients. They get a lot of clients because those clients like the photos. They like the angles that they choose as photographers. So you can get away with a lot. Do I charge by the hour for editing? I haven't charged by the hour for editing. I usually charge by the job. I usually have an idea of how long something's going to take me and what it's going to be worth for my time. Like, I usually have an idea in the back of my mind that it's going to take me this much time. This is how much money I'm going to charge because this is what it's going to be worth to me at the end. So some projects can take longer, but I usually eat that. Exactly. Exactly so. So, yeah, I mean, it's all like I found a folder today. I was looking through Apex's folder. I've got a file here. Apex aerial imaging. I think it's in YouTube. Yeah, here it is. So I found the file. I found I found some photos today when I was digging through, like when I first started. Like when I first started taking photos. Just to give you an idea, this was like when I first started. I got to find it. Let me see if it's in my Apex folder. You know what? I bet you it's all online, actually. Let me see if I can go to Dropbox. Let's see. Let's go to files. I just did a bunch of headshots too for this agent. But let's see. Florida A team. I want to say I probably archived these listings. I'll show you. All right, here we go. This is how bad it was back when I first started. Oh, no. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let me switch over. So when I first started doing photos, I'm going to break this out so I can actually see what you guys say at the time. So when I first started like a year and a half ago, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing. So this is a house that I shot, and I really, really screwed this house up. So I didn't take a tripod with me. I was hand holding the photos. I mean, they were just really bad. Like, I'll show you some of the interior shots I got. They were horrendous. Like, and I didn't even know how I didn't lose this client. These were my interior shots. They're out of focus. The angles are all off. They look terrible. This is a terrible photo. This is absolutely horrendous. I did this all with my hand. I had a flash on and I didn't have it on a tripod. I didn't know what I was doing. I was in way over my head a year and a half ago. And this agent, she was just happy I was doing it for almost next to nothing, right? So I was doing these photos. These photos are terrible. And she was getting a really good deal. So she was getting video and photo for like $75. I was underpricing myself tremendously. Windows look like absolute shit. Everything about this looks terrible. You can actually see the date I modified this. This was done the day after Christmas, 12/26/2018. And it wasn't until a couple of houses ago, or a couple of, I want to say, where was it? Let me see. Let me go back into, where is it? Dennis Realty. It was this house. This house, I call this the Asian house because that's what it looks like. No, these are video folders. Let me see if I can find the actual files for that. Because these realtors were very critical. Is it? No, that's Bushnell. Oh wait, that was it. Yeah, Dropbox makes no sense sometimes. It was this particular couple. Yeah, the K group. All right, it was this house that I realized that my photos sucked really bad. So here was the house. I think I used a tripod. Okay, so this isn't bad. I tried. I did it in HDR. The window pull still looks really, really bad. The ceiling looks good. Like, this isn't bad. There's some really bad color cast from the light, but doesn't look terrible. Not a bad angle, right? It's not terrible. The colors aren't bad. Lots of bad vertical distortion. Like, there is a lot of bad distortion here. So I did all these photos. Again, these are not good photos. They're better than nothing. This was a shit angle. I don't know what I was thinking. So this is really bad. The agent ripped me apart from head to toe. They made me feel like I was this big. And I needed that. Because after they ripped me apart and made me feel that big, what I did was I went back and I said, what am I doing wrong? I said, I'm doing a lot wrong. I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong. I watched so many videos from Nathan Cool, Rich Baum. I've got a friend that does real estate, and he showed me, like, he sort of took me under his wing and showed me a lot of what he knew. And he really helped out tremendously, because now, like, if I go into a house, I look at things entirely different. So this is one that I just did for an agent just recently. So this is a house that we just did. This house has a lot of punchy colors, but you can see I was able to tame the colors because I learned about composition. So this is all about composition now. Like, you got to know how to compose a shot. Back then, I didn't know how to compose these shots. So now I'm able to take photos and do this with it. Compose the shot, get the lighting, make sure there's not all this weird color cast. But it takes time. You got to really, like, think about your shot. Like, you got to move the garbage can. You got to look at the counters. So, and this house is not like a great house. Like, these colors were a real disaster. Like, this was a really hard house. This was a hard house to deal with because of the colors. Like, these colors were really, really hard to deal with. Very punchy, just really, really hard to deal with. So let me go back. The most recent one I just did, let's go to this one. This is the most recent one. So now I'm able to shoot houses like this, which this is a $750,000 house. So these are the houses. So this is what you can get once you understand your composition. And now these agents trust me to go in here and be able to do this. Windows are nice and pulled. Get fairly decent, exposure in here. A little bit too much glare on the floor, but there's not a lot you're going to be able to do that. You sort of have to embrace that. But you gotta fail a lot in order to know what you don't know, I guess the best way to put it. So what do I like better, 3 walls or 2 photos? It depends. It depends on the house. It depends. Like a house like this, I shot 3 exposures. So actually with this house, I shot 3 exposures and 1 flash. So, and then what ended up happening is I ended up just taking 1 exposure. So I had 1 base exposure and then 1 flash photo, and then you blend it down. Like, so basically what happens is this area here is overexposed. So this area here is overexposed and this area here is overexposed. So when you bring it back into Lightroom and you bring it back into your Photoshop, you can blend those. You paint in the exposures. It's hard to explain on this. My recommendation is Rich Baum and Nathan Kuhl can explain it much better than I can. And there's a lot of people to learn from. I just find that the way Rich teaches things to be very like common and soothing. He also has a Facebook group that you can follow along with. If you're just trying to get into this, follow his Facebook group, Rich Baum Photography. And he also does seminars. So I would suggest, watching his seminars because he is going to be a good resource and a good utility. You got to have good utilities. You got to have good resources when you're just starting out. If I didn't have Steve, I swear I probably would have never figured any of this out. It just is really helpful to have somebody that I can talk to and figure things out. So I would honestly suggest doing that. I know I see a lot of people talking about, I don't use LUTs on photos. I don't use any lookup tables. Those colors are straight out of the camera. Matter of fact, the camera that I am using to do this stream is what I take all the photos with. A lot of people thought when I did that video about the real estate gear that I was joking with them that I use an A6100. I really do use an A6100 for all of my real estate photography. So when I use this camera, I use it for a specific reason because there is no color profiles on there. Because there's no color profiles, I never have to worry about making the mistake of taking photos in like S-Log or something like that. I'll do you one better. I will link Rich Baum's channel here in the stream. So if you want to check out Rich, go check out Rich. Tell him I sent you. I mean, you're just not going to go wrong with his content. He is a great teacher, super, super common guy. So this is Rich's channel, Rich Baum. And that's all he does is real estate photography. So like this is the guy I would learn from. Follow along with his tutorials and you guys will be set. I'm going to probably, what I'll do is when I get them together, I will get some raw files. So for you guys that don't have a portfolio and you're trying to figure all this out, I will get some composed shots together, like photos taken in good lighting, and photos that you can practice with, like raw files that you can bring back into Lightroom and practice in Photoshop. So that way you can get an understanding of how to do all this. If you don't have the camera, you haven't had any clients, obviously you're probably like, well, I don't want to work on a client's house because I don't want to screw a client up. This will give you some room to practice. So I'll zip them up. I'll put them on a Google Drive. I'll probably do a video on this eventually, and then I'll put those files there so you can practice with. So that way you have something to try to work with. Let's see. Yep. So Tim, you're exactly right. Rich does ambient flash blending, and I try to do that, but sometimes I get lazy and I just still do like 3 brackets or 4 brackets. But you're right. What Rich does, he takes one ambient exposure and then he takes a flash shot. And the idea of the flash is that it's going to fill in everything along with taking that window and exposing that window. Now, Nathan's another guy. He's got a video and he calls it the fast flambient, and that actually looks pretty good. Like, I haven't tried it personally, but it looks like it can save a lot of time, especially if you have a lot of edits. So I would check out both of them, you know, and see what's going on. Yeah, exactly. That's why I use a cheap camera. I mean, this camera's, you know, I say it's cheap. It's, you know, at the time it was a $600 camera, but if it breaks, it's not too expensive where I can't replace it. The other thing is it's super simple. The reason why I use it is because I like how simple it is. When I go into a house, I know exactly what it's going to do every single time. It's not the gear. It's the person composing the shot. Composing the shot is more important than what the shot, like the end result of the colors look like, if you ask me. Like, you can take a nice ambient shot and that's all you need. That's all you need sometimes. So there you go. Everybody stay safe. Don't touch your face. Wash your hands. I've got a mask somewhere. I don't know if I don't think this mask is very effective, but if I want to rob a bank or something, I guess. Okay. So when I fly my drone, look like a freaking ninja. I don't know. All these people are making these. I don't think they do a damn thing. I'm probably more at risk for just wearing it, but I don't know. I'm not going to go into a bank like that anytime soon. This is Three Daughters. I added a daughter. Three Daughters Brewery, Copper State. Copper State asks, what am I drinking? This is Three Daughters. This is Rod Bender. Yeah, you know, I've seen some people take photos with an iPhone and it fooled me. Like, you can take great photos with an iPhone. Like, don't ever knock the fact that if you have an iPhone with a wide angle lens, that you could totally do that. So again, I guess that's going to wrap it up. 10:17, we'll call it a night. This was a great live stream. I really appreciate everybody hanging out and joining me tonight. We'll be back again for more drones, brews, and news. I don't know. What did we call this? Oh, what did we call this? I didn't even know. I'll have to look at the thumbnail. But we'll do this again next week. I think this was fun. We'll try it again. Hopefully everybody stays safe. If you are flying, hopefully you're flying safely and away from people, if you can. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Stay original.
Waiting, you sleeping. I feel like hard in the season. Yeah. Too many nights, yeah. Not feeling right, yeah. Too many nights, yeah. Not feeling right, yeah. I can't be still inside. I can't be still inside. Too many nights, yeah. Not feeling right, yeah. Too many nights, yeah. Not feeling right, yeah. I can't be still inside. I can't be still inside. I don't toss and I don't turn. There's some lessons I'ma learn. Usher said to let it burn, but my life isn't his concern. I don't toss and I don't turn. There's some lessons I'ma learn. Usher said to let it burn, but my life isn't his concern. I am not the one, and I am not your Neo. I am not a hero, and I am not a hero, and I am not your one. Yeah, and I'm not your Neo, and I am not a hero. Yeah, and I'm not a hero. Too many nights, yeah. Not feeling right.